So an activity I will most likely have my students be doing would be a farm simulator game. And what that means is that my students would be looking at cash bids from local grain markets and then putting them into a Excel sheet and really just tracking how much their bushels of wheat or corn are sold for to kind of get them to realize how beneficial ag economics in business is. So the tutorial that I'm going to be doing today is how to use some simple simple Excel equations so that you don't have to keep going back to your calculator to do math. So it might be kind of beneficial for students. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reference the wheat crop that they could possibly be selling. So today it is selling at $9.15 per bushel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be that, but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to reference that 915 here. I'm ready to go to Excel sheet, and I already have a table made up for them, so switch that over. But I'm going to type in, hypothetically speaking, we're selling wheat. We're selling to Midland. We're going to sell it for $9.15 per bushel. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sell 1,000 bushels. We have 0 transportation costs at this time. Our storage costs would be 0.00167. We'll deal with that in a second. And then we'll be doing our total. So there's actually a really easy way to calculate this without having to necessarily go to a separate calculator. So the first thing that you're going to do, depending on the command, is what I like to do is I like to do equal. And the first thing that I'm going to be doing is calculating how much cash I'll be making off the bushel sold. So I'm going to click the cell. So if you can see that 915 is in D8, and then I'm going to use the asterisk symbol to reference that I'm multiplying. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the other cell, E8. And they're in the same row, and then I just press enter, and the two are multiplied together. So that's kind of a simple function that you can use on Excel, and you can actually do this with either cell. So if I wanted to do, let's say 915 multiplied, I can click the cell up here and get the same response. So that would be my how much I would make off of the bushels. Now my storage costs, that's gonna be a little bit different. So it's been about 70 days since I've put my bushels in for storage. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type that. I'm going to multiply it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply it by 70. So you don't actually have to have a cell reference if you don't want to. You can just type in the value, and there we go. We have 0.1169. So with that being said, I'm going to delete that. See, I made a mistake there. Can't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this, delete that, and I'm going to not paste that. So it's going to be 0.1169. So there you go. We have that in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete that cell. So now we need to do the total, right? So what I'm going to do is you can do multiple things, multiple functions, mathematical functions at one point in the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to subtract by 0, even so referencing the fact that if maybe I had transportation cost, I would have to add that in there, and then I'm going to subtract by this, and that right there is my total cost. Now I could actually do that right in this cell too. I could do this minus this minus this, and boom, I'm still at my leftover amount there. So there's a lot of different options we can do to solve that or to put that in there. And again, you have to be really careful, so I'm gonna have to leave that math there. Remaining bushels, now I can go ahead and subtract that from that, which leaves me with 19,000, and I'll just go ahead and see that little square there? I'm just gonna go ahead and carry that down to this one, and boom, I don't even have to type that one in. So those are just some simple, really simple functions that you can do in Excel, and that's probably the most I'll have my students do at one time, but it really makes it easy to keep all your math on one page and not have to keep going back to your calculator, especially if there's a lot of things such as this that are needed to be considered. So